Hi, everyone. Welcome to our second ever episode of We Talk Sports. Today, I'm here with Sam. Again, I'm Andy. We're talking about the NBA playoffs, and we're going to run through the brackets and give our predictions. And then we'll come back at the end of the playoffs and take a look and see how we did. So, Sam, we're going to start off in the Western Conference. Let's start with the number one seed, Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Memphis Grizzlies. How do you think that one's going to play out?
I have Oklahoma City Thunder beating the Grizzlies.
All right. I also have Oklahoma City beating the Grizzlies. I think it'll be a pretty quick series. I don't think they'll need more than 4 or 5 games to win that series. All right. Next up, we have the Denver Nuggets versus the Los Angeles Clippers. Sam, what do you think about that one?
The Denver Nuggets will beat the Los Angeles Clippers.
All right, I'm with you on that one. This seems like Russell Westbrook's revenge against the Clippers. I don't know, you put Russell Westbrook and James Harden in a playoff series and somebody has to win. But I think having the Joker is going to be the difference, and home court advantage. Nuggets are going to win. I do think it might take 6 or 7 games for them to pull that one off. Let's move over to the next one. We have the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. What do you think, Sam?
Los Angeles Lakers will win against the Timberwolves.
Are you thinking because of LeBron James and Luka Doncic?
Yep.
Yeah, it's star power there, but Minnesota pulled off the big upset last year against the Nuggets. They seem to have a little playoff mojo. I don't trust the Lakers even with the star power. So I'm going with Minnesota in what many consider to be an upset. Probably 6 or 7 games for that one as well. And then the last playoff series in the West, we have the Houston Rockets versus the Golden State Warriors. What do you think, Sam?
I have the Golden State Warriors beating the Rockets.
Same. So we only have one difference. The Lakers and Timberwolves is the only thing we disagree on. Rockets are a good, young, up-and-coming team, but I think Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler are going to be a little too much in the first round. I think that one is probably about a 6-game series. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first round in the East, and then we'll see what happens in the second and beyond that round of the playoffs. So on the East, we have top of the seed Cleveland Cavaliers going up against the Miami Heat. What do you think, Sam?
I have the Cavaliers beating the Heat.
Yep, agree. I think Cleveland is just too good this year. Miami's always tough come playoff time, as they proved already by getting in through the play-in games. But I think it's just a little too much. Really deep, well-balanced Cavaliers team, so I have them advancing. Next up, you have the Indiana Pacers versus the Milwaukee Bucks. What do you think, Sam?
I have the Bucks winning that series.
All right, well, the Bucks certainly have perhaps the best player in the series, but they also have Doc Rivers as their coach, and Dame Lillard is coming back from blood clot injury. I'm not sure how quickly he'll get up to speed. I like Indiana. I think Indiana's a pretty deep team. They're playing well. I'm going to go with Indiana, so we've got a difference there. Next up, we have the Knicks and the Pistons. What do you think, Sam?
I have the Knicks beating the Pistons.
Good choice there. I will admit I am a Knicks fan, and the Knicks should be able to win this series. I think they're definitely the favorites. They have home court advantage. Pistons haven't been to the playoffs in a long time, so this would be a good chance for them to sort of get their feet wet in the playoffs, but I don't see them beating the Knicks. I have the Knicks winning that one in 6. Moving on to the last series in the East, we have the Boston Celtics versus the Orlando Magic. What do you think, Sam?
I think the Celtics are going to beat the Magic.
I think that's a good pick, too. I like what Orlando's done. They've had to battle a lot of injuries, but Boston, in my mind, is probably the best team in the NBA. More on that later, but I think Boston is too much, and they probably win that one in 5 games or less. All right, so we have our first round out of the way. Let's pick the rest of the West all the way to the championship. Sam, you have Oklahoma City versus the Denver Nuggets. I also have Oklahoma City versus the Denver Nuggets. Who do you think is going to win that in round 2?
I have the Oklahoma City Thunder
All
and
right.
the Nuggets.
Yeah, just too good of a team, you think?
Yep.
Yep, I mean, they're the number 1 seed. They crushed it in the regular season. I think Denver's going to recapture some magic from 2 years ago. They've got their right before the playoff coaching change to motivate them. We'll see how that works, but I'm going to go with the battle-tested Denver Nuggets in that. I'm going to say Oklahoma City's still missing some veteran leadership. Would have liked to have seen them bring that in at the trade deadline this year. So I'm going to go with the big upside here, knock out the number 1 seed, go with the Denver Nuggets. All right, in the other playoff matchup out west, Sam, you have the Lakers and Golden State. I have Minnesota versus Golden State. What do you think in your matchup, Sam?
I have the Lakers beating the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry.
All right, so you're sticking with the Lakers there. I'm going to stick with that same matchup, but I had picked Minnesota to win that first round series. I'm going to pick Minnesota to win the next round as well against Golden State. Now, on my side, that sets up an interesting Nuggets versus Minnesota Western Conference Final. That was one of the best series last season, and Minnesota upset the Nuggets, knocked them out of the playoffs. This year, I've got the Nuggets beating Minnesota and going to the NBA Finals, coming out west. Sam, what do you think? You've got the Lakers versus Oklahoma City. Who's going to win that one?
I have the Thunder winning against the Lakers and going to the championship.
All right, sticking with the number 1 seed. Hard to argue. They've had such a good season. We'll see if their youth can overcome and make it all the way this year. All right, so we've got one side of the bracket finished. Either Oklahoma City for Sam or the Nuggets for me. Let's go to the other side of the bracket. So, Sam, you had Cleveland and the Milwaukee Bucks facing off in the second round out east. Who do you think is going to win that one?
I have Cleveland winning that one.
All right, sticking with your number 1 seed theme. I had Cleveland facing the Indiana Pacers, but I also agree. I think Cleveland will advance through that round as well. And then in the other matchup, we both have the Knicks and the Celtics. What do you think about that one, Sam?
I have the Knicks actually beating the Celtics to go on.
All right. I love it. I hope that's true. I just am having a hard time finding a hole in the Celtics team. And so assuming they stay healthy and get to that point, I don't know that I could pick the Knicks to win that. So I'm picking Boston to beat the Knicks and go to the Eastern Conference Final. So in this case, I've got Boston versus Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Final, and I'm going to go with Boston. I think Boston has more playoff experience, a slightly deeper team. I think they're going to the finals. Boston versus the Denver Nuggets on my side. Sam, you have Cleveland versus the Knicks. Who's going to the NBA Finals out of the East?
Okay, I have the Knicks barely winning against Cleveland and making it to the finals.
I love it, Sam. That's great. Number 1 seed goes down. The good guys go to the finals, and the Knicks. Sounds like that'll be a 7-game series in your mind. So now you've got the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. What do you think?
I have the Thunder winning.
Oh, so close on the Knicks. But I'll be honestly thrilled that they make it that far. Can't argue with the Thunder. What's the big difference there for you?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, he's a tough guy to beat. So that's good. I have the Nuggets versus the Celtics in the finals. I'm going Boston to win the NBA championship. Again, just too deep, too talented, too experienced. So between the two of us, Sam's going with out west, Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm going on the east, Boston Celtics. We'll come back at the end of the playoffs and revisit and see how we did. But we're looking forward. This should be a pretty exciting race. I think there's a lot of teams that have a chance to win it all. So we're going to sign off here. Thank you, Sam. Episode 2 of We Talk Sports is out.